Here we go. Here we go. Chest day. Does it get any better? I can answer that for you. No, no, it does not. 335 again. This was not my initial plan to do free weight barbell bench press again. Kind of just off a whim because I was this close, and I do mean this close, whatever this close means. I was close. All right, to doing dumbbell bench press, but I know I have another 8 weeks potentially of this fast. And with each week, I'm going to definitely lose strength probably. Some weeks more drastic than others, but I would say almost definitely it's going to be consistent, drop in strength. So this might be the last decent week that I can have. I'm kind of trying to go a little heavy on a barbell bench press. Will I get 10 again like last Monday? I doubt I'd have, fuck. I mean, I'm at a loss of words. Probably not. I'm going to go for it. But, it might be a situation like last week where I do get 10 again, but then the second and third set is such a drop off because my energy and strength is just not at its peak. So we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, the first set is just a total failure, literally, maybe even. And I might, just go from there. But yeah, 335. I will say, I hate saying shit like this, but with my limited calories and my time restriction of when I can eat and how long I can eat, again, your body it can have a hard time recovering, which it's like, duh, that's almost a given. You're depriving your body of nutrients and calories and whatnot. So in saying that, the past couple weeks I've been noticing like just little things that I've never really had before, at least not in a long time. And I had this tweak. It's almost in my rear delt and partially like in my very, very upper portion of my lat. And I even felt it a little yesterday when I was doing reverse pec deck. Maybe that was my sign I shouldn't have done that, but I'm stubborn. So I'm here. It is what it is at this point. But so if that gives me any issues or cause for pause, I also might have to, change the game plan a little. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. And but what's weird is I feel it the most on liftoff. So like when I'm lifting it up off the rack, once I get in position, it feels better. I'll get back to you whenever I'm done with this set. When the reps start getting tough, maybe it'll start to kind of literally rear its ugly head, and I'll feel it more. But that's enough talk. Let me just do it. How about that? I kind of suspected that. Was 10 on the table? Yeah, but considering the couple things that I said before I did it with this little, what do I call it even? It's a sharp pain, a jabbing pain almost. you know, but really I didn't really feel it. I don't think. Um, really while I was doing it. So really no. Maybe I was just in my head too much. I don't want to. Definitely don't want to get hurt. That is the complete opposite of the point of this. You know, you're coming here to get better, not get worse and potentially hurt yourself. So I'm not gonna. I'll do one more. See what I do. Definitely not. I mean, it was one rep less than last week, but on a fast, restricted calories. I mean, all things considered, not bad. And I feel it in my chest. Once that chest started getting pumped up. So all in all, I mean, can't really complain. Would I like to have gotten 10 again? Yeah, but for anyone that doesn't know, that's how training goes, man. If you think every week you're gonna hit a PR, you're gonna match a PR or get stronger consistently, you're fucking kidding yourself. That is not how it works at all. I always like to say there's peaks and valleys. You'll have some weeks or maybe even months where you feel really good, and then slowly or maybe even dramatically it'll dip down to a valley, and you're just like, oh my god, why do I feel like shit, or why do I feel weak or whatever it is, and it's just never ending. You know what I mean? And there are things like if you don't train bodybuilding and you don't cut or do anything like that, the valleys might be less because just think about it when you're restricting your body of calories and nutrients and um, carbs even and fats, all that shit. Just imagine how your body's gonna feel. You know, that's like putting very low oil in your car and very low gas all the time. Over time, how do you think your car is gonna respond to that? It's the same thing here. So bodybuilders is a different kind of game. They have a lot more valleys prepping for shows, but they know that. You kind of go into it willingly and knowingly. Um, anyways, I might kind of call an audible today. I might just do two semi-heavy sets because I'll always do 5 sets of pressing. I might just do two heavier sets and then three kind of lighter sets. You know, I'll base that off how the next one goes. If it goes better than expected, maybe I'll do a third one. So we'll see. That's an idea I'm kind of just floating in my head right now, and the second set will kind of determine that for me. Yeah, I'm thinking I definitely had one more rep. I went back and watched that video, and in my head, and I did say maybe I was just in my head. Um, it felt harder than what it looked on the ninth rep, but I pushed through harder reps, which was which was what would have been the 10th one. I've pushed through harder reps and gotten it. It is a little more sketchy being free weight and not on a Smith machine. But I, man, I hate it when I do that. I don't do it often, uh, but I kind of miscalculated, and I definitely think I had one more. So maybe I think last week I did 10, and then I actually think I lost 2 reps. I think I did 8 on the second one. So maybe since I only did 9 here, and I think I could have done 10, maybe I could do 9 again. That's a big maybe. We'll see. But I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try to get 9 again. I did it. What do you know? I was right for once. That felt, I don't know, that did feel a little better, I think. It's always hard to say it right after a set. I need to kind of let it settle for a couple minutes. But I think it felt better. One thing I have noticed, well, I'm trying to limit my explosiveness anyways. I tell my girlfriend the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But in here, I'm trying to limit that. Because when you're bodybuilding, trying to build muscle, it's all about constant tension. like I said yesterday, you're almost making the reps harder than what they should be because you're just squeezing, constantly keep attention on whatever muscle you're hitting. Um, so it's going to force you to sometimes lower the weight. You're probably going to get less reps, all of that. Now, I'm not completely doing that here. I'm using a little explosiveness. Admittedly, honestly, probably just to fill my ego. It is what it is, man. If I don't do at least a couple of sets like that, I'm actually kind of worried about where I'll go, you know, mentally more than anything. But so yeah, it's like I've noticed here, and I think it's from the fast, my explosiveness, like the weight's just moving slow. I have almost no explosiveness. So it's like just I just try to keep it steady. Am I probably going a little quicker than I should on the eccentric? Yeah, honestly, just being a little self-critical here, probably. Um, but this is why, again, I'll say it briefly. This is why I do the 5 set method of my pressing and on my back, my first back exercise of each back workout. I'll do three, usually three heavy, and then follow it up with 2 sets of the same exercise. Just go lighter, slow the reps down, and really do it how I probably should. But just like Ronnie, you've seen Ronnie Coleman do all those big heavy sets of like 3 reps and 5 reps, and look at him. You know, of course, you're talking about one of the most genetically gifted, probably the most gifted ever bodybuilder. So, that excluded, look how he trained. There's different ways to do it, and I'm a big believer in a healthy blend. And I don't think you need much heavy lifting. If you look at a good power lifter, how many top sets will they do? You know, 2 or 3, and everything else is accessory. Well, I'm kind of treating my bodybuilding the same way. I'm just probably going to failure a lot more than they do on the accessory stuff, and maybe a little even heavier, but like a heavy 10 to 15 on my accessories, and then blend that with some heavier stuff here, where I'm just lifting big weight just for the sake of lifting big weight and having my body respond that way, put muscle on that way. I don't know. I think it's a good combo. It's worked for me, and it like I said, it fills my ego a little. I don't really think it takes anything away because I'm still doing the slower, methodical, constant tension sets too. I just said a whole mouthful, pretty much just say that. Anyways, I think I will do one more. I'm not gonna promise it's gonna be great, but I'll do one more. Yeah, that third set has gotten me past 2 times I've done this. Although this one was definitely better than last week, because last week I almost performed a skull crusher unintentionally. Luckily, I could slide out from underneath it, but yeah, I completely failed it last week. I didn't even get the 7th one, so I managed to get 7 here. Let's take that as a win. I'm gonna go down to 225, do a couple of light, really squeezing sets, and then we'll move on to something else. All right, final set. So let's make it a drop set. Damn, that was effective as fuck. And I don't want to make that sound like a bad thing, because that was almost as perfect as you can get, at least to the end of this. I'd always like for more reps with heavier weight, obviously, but all in all, pretty fucking good. Let's move on. Decline bench, my old friend. I've missed you. It's been like shit, maybe even 4 months since I've last done this. You know, I was nursing that lower back injury, so I tried it, I think, maybe twice to do this, and there was no way I could have done it. I don't even think I could have done 135, which obviously, if it's that bad, it's not a wise decision to try to push through that. I mean, there's really no point. So this is gonna be my first time. It's almost like I'm a virgin again. First time in about 4 months, 4 months ish. After 5 sets already. This is 325. This is a 55 pound. Honestly, on the first set, anywhere around 10, pretty nice, steady, controlled reps, I'll be happy. And then I'll just go from there. Probably two more, unless something goes horribly wrong or horribly right. I doubt that though. Holy shit. That kind of has me rethinking this whole thing here. Wow. Yeah, that was a bad surprise. I was expecting way better than that. Well, I mean, I was like a quarter rep away from getting 9, so it was one less than I was hoping for, I guess. So it's not terrible, but it just felt kind of like I said earlier. Everything's just moving slow. So that, you know, I think there's no coincidence that this fast, I'm getting deeper into it, the more I'm kind of feeling like this. I know there's correlation, and I even expected it. And that's the thing. It's something I expected, and I'm still trying to cope with it. I'll try that again because, a lot of times my second set is better. So we'll see. I'll try one more. And if it's just even worse, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a back down set in the third one. Ugh. Man, that shit feels heavy today. Still drops that though. You know what? As much as I hate to admit it, I think I needed that. I needed a little reminder. Like, dude, you're fucking fasting. Starting your fifth week, I can't expect one to be Superman, and two to even hit previous numbers that I did for certain reps. You know, it's just it's not attainable. It's not sustainable. I think about it. I've done. First of all, it's my first time decline benching in almost 4 months, and then for the first time in 4 months, I decided to, which is this is how I always did it, but still, I decided to throw it in after already doing 5 sets of flat. So I did 8 consecutive sets of bench, and I expected to be right where I left off, um, and to just do it like I never stopped. You know, that was kind of foolish. Like I said, I think this is a little reminder that I kind of needed. Sometimes you need a little kick in the ass, you know, a wake up call. Now, hopefully, you can notice these smaller wake up calls, and it doesn't require something catastrophic. Because there's levels to it. If it requires something catastrophic, it might be too late. But yeah, I felt heavy today. I know I kind of just sounded like I made a bunch of excuses, which I kind of are. But bottom line is, I'm fasted. It is what it is. You know, I can't expect to do what I did before. Because I think even after doing 5 sets of flat before I hurt my back, and then I would do decline right after. I was up to like 325 for 10 or 11. And on the first set, I did almost 9. We call it like 8 3/4. So yeah, it's just not the same. All right, let me do something for upper chest. I might see where I'm at after that. That might be it. I'm already pretty fucked right now, so we'll see how it goes. All right, I just don't have it in me today to do incline dumbbell flies, and that might be the same sad story for the next 8 weeks while I'm fasting. But it is what it is. You gotta adapt. Luckily, the cables are open, so obviously we're gonna do some seated low to high cable flies, hit the upper chest. I'll do 2 3 sets. I'll play it out, whatever feels right. Um, like I said, that might be it, but never say never. I know how I can get sometimes, and it's hard to say no. You know, when you're feeling good, and I wouldn't even say I'm feeling good, but say your pump's feeling good. It's hard to stop sometimes, but we'll see how these go and go from there. Son of a bitch! I feel like a crippled old man. That's not gonna stop me. I'm gonna do at least one more, probably with the drop set. Yeah, I think I'm like the Kansas City Chiefs playoffs hopes this year, and I'm done, fucking done. And yes, that was a slight shot at them. I can't fucking stand them, but I feel like I got a pretty good bump. Yeah, let's go check it out. All right, I finished this with one quick little round of deficit bodyweight push-ups, slow and controlled, squeezing my chest as hard as I can, and I'm done. Now I'm done. Yeah, so adaptability, it is a big, big thing. You have to be able to adapt, and not only that, you have to be willing. You know, I mean, as much as I wanted to maybe try to go a little heavier today, since last week I did 335 for 10. Like, is it gonna be what's best for my ultimate goal? You know, that's kind of like the question. I'm having some light difficulties here. Anyways, that's like the ultimate question, right? Um, Whatever's gonna help me accomplish the end goal the best, that should be what you execute to get it done. You know, so I want to do one thing. Is it what's best to accomplish said end goal? You know, sometimes it's not. So you got to be able to adapt. You got to be willing to adapt, and you got to be able to, first of all, kind of notice when some adaptation or changes need to be made. You know, and I knew this was going to happen with this fast, and I thought this is the crazy thing. I thought I was okay with it, and I had kind of come to terms with it. And today, it kind of was still surprised and still threw me off and a little bit and just messed with my head. But I know what I'm doing here is what I need, um, and what I want really too. I want to snatch up this waist more, and I know I can. That's really where I'm holding most of my fat. If I could lose like 5 or 10 pounds around my waist, obviously, if I was prepping for a show, I'd need even a little more. But that's really what I'm focusing on right now. So I'm gonna do some posing here. We'll check out the chest. It feels good, so we'll check that out. I'm gonna go do some cardio. Um, let's check the pump first before I get too far ahead of myself here. All right, so I'm gonna go do some cardio. I'm not jumping into cardio like full steam ahead. I'm gonna ease into it. Yesterday I did 15 minutes. I'll probably do 15 minutes all week, maybe even for a couple weeks, and then bump up to like 20, 25. Uh, that's the thing. Like I don't need a ton of cardio with how low my calories are and the way I'm doing it this fast. But I do think it'll help give me that little extra edge to make these results even better. If I'm gonna go all in, go all in. You know what I mean? I don't want to hold back or half-ass it. I don't need a ton of cardio. Again, with the low calories and only eating 6 hours a day, but I think just a little bit. That's why I'm only doing 15 minutes. Just that little bit will help me kind of get it over, take it over the top. You know, I'm out of it. Fuck. That's another thing with these low calories and only eating 6 hours a day. Uh, I've noticed my cognitive ability, my ability to process and not even just formulate my sentences, but maintain them and sustain a thought all the way through. Sometimes I'll just lose it. It's gone. Um, and I think it's because of what I'm doing. So you guys have to just kind of bear with me the next 8 weeks. It's for a greater good, for my personal goals. So it's something I'm willing to put up with. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad though. Yeah, go do some cardio tomorrow, back and biceps. That's it today.